Yo guys, what's up? Just another market outlook on what we're currently seeing within the markets regarding the major dollar pairs. So starting off with the dollar index, just to kind of provide you guys with my bias. Overall, looking at the dollar index, we have been ranging since, the start of July, really just moving sideways. As we can see, the 25% of the overall range is acting as your area of support, and the 75% mark of the range is acting as your resistance. We've seen both a fake out on the high and on the low of the range. Just pretty much stuck in here. It's kind of like a summer market, nothing really too much going on. Overall, also looking at this 1 hour time frame, really messy chart. Again, you can see 25% mark acting as support, 75% mark acting as resistance. So when these markets get this messy, what I mainly just do is I focus on the higher time frame, mainly the daily, kind of just see what's going on. Of course, preferably the 4 hour, but the 4 hour is also pretty messy. So looking over here at the daily time frame, still looking for price to head down lower, potentially in towards this area of demand, and also take out, of course, that second low of the overall descending channel. Looking at the market at the moment though, what we can see, of course, is that kind of this area over here, this buy before the sell-off, is still acting as your area of supply. So preferably I would still see price kind of head down lower from here in towards the downside, due to the fact that this area of demand is just still so fresh, and I would love it to get hit. Overall, I just want to see the pattern play out and then potentially move up higher in towards this area of supply. For the rest, nothing much here from a perspective on the dollar index. Now, Australian dollar, US dollar, of course, Aussie dollar moved back down lower due to the fact that the 4 hour is still bearish. So remember, preferably, of course, looking at it from a daily perspective with a pullback below the 50% mark and a tap in towards demand, you would kind of like expect potentially for Aussie dollar to head up higher. But for that to happen, we need the 4 hour to shift and to break this high over here to see that break of structure and then take those longs. So still nothing really happened from that perspective. As we can see, we reacted to this area of 4 hour supply in line with the overall structure on the 4 hour. And headed down in towards the downside. So of course you can take those shorts from here. It isn't the highest probability trade because of the fact where we're based from a daily perspective, but still 4 hour is my preferable time frame, so you can always look for those shorts, but then you'll just have to manage your position a little bit more. So we still haven't seen it close below this 4 hour low. If we do see it close below it, then definitely start looking for shorts again, potentially from, for example, this area of supply, then trade it down one more time in towards this 4 hour area, from where then the highest probability longs will come from. For now, what I would recommend to do is really sit on your hands. As we can see, yesterday we did react to this area of demand over here. Also from a 15-minute perspective, you can clearly see how we tapped in towards this area of demand. We just missed this doji candle over here, but overall, again, not really any interesting opportunities here on Aussie dollar. So once again, like I just said, focusing here on the 4 hour time frame and the daily time frame. And from a 4 hour perspective, you guys know, if we break this low, take one more short in towards this area of demand. If we break this high, then we just wait for our area of demand to be created, and then we look for those longs, which is again the highest probability trade. So Aussie dollar, sitting on my hands. Euro dollar. So euro dollar is currently moving in towards the downside, pretty much just rejecting this trend line over here. So let's look on the 15-minute time frame, what's going on. So yeah, from a 15-minute perspective, I shared this yesterday, pretty much these two zones from where you could potentially look for those longs. As we can see, pretty much reacted to both zones. Over here we tapped in towards the zone and then straight away pulled back out of it again. We kind of tapped through it, and then over here on the 5-minute I spotted this opportunity. Didn't take the trade personally because I wasn't a fan of the entire area of demand being broken. So therefore I was waiting for this lower zone to get hit, but again, no real proper entry model provided. But over here what you can see is that we took out this high over here, and this high took out this low. So you see that change of character happen. So push down, pull back, push down, break up. So break of the high, pull back in towards demand, which created the high, and from there you could have taken that long. So kind of depending on how you draw these areas of demand, of course this sell before the buy candle is pretty much your area of demand, the preferable area of demand. If you take your stop loss right below that zone, and then you, for example, have a mechanical 1 to 3 strategy, or for example target this first high and then set your trade to break even. It's either a break even trade, or if you target, for example, just a 1 to 3 you would have banked your 1 to 3, but again, not the most beautiful setup in my opinion, due to the demand zone being spiked through. Then again, when we entered that lower area of demand, no entry model was provided on the 15-minute, so pretty much just skipped this in full. Reason I was looking for long is of course still in line with the overall vision that this descending wedge should play out and see if further pushing towards the upside. This second low over here, we saw a fake out upon it. So when you have these descending wedges, what you want to see is a 1, 2, and then a third tap, or you want to see a fake out on the second low, which already happened, as I mentioned on whatever it was, Wednesday or Tuesday, or even yesterday, I'm not sure. Yeah, I was kind of expecting an aggressive reaction back up in towards the upside. Pretty much saw it, but overall not really any entry model provided with these overall messy markets. I am still expecting, even despite us now seeing this dump in towards downside, and it could just be because I'm kind of in love with my bias, which is a dangerous thing, but I am still looking for your dollar to head up higher, take out all of these highs, and see that daily pattern completion, or at least tap in towards this area of 4-hour supply, pull back, and then for example take another long. But for now, this is your high to break, because this high took out this low. We haven't closed yet below this low, so still your swing range on the 4-hour is like this. As we can see, the 50% mark of the overall swing range is acting as perfect resistance, which is often the case. Now, of course, if we look at it from a 4-hour perspective, you are expecting it to head down lower. Looking at it from a daily perspective, however, and the daily is always stronger, we are still looking to see further upside. We took out this daily area of supply, and then the probability is just higher that we are going to move in towards the upside. However, the overall 4-hour supply chain, or order flow, whatever you want to call it, so the buys before the sell-offs are still holding, right? So again, this is kind of your order flow. So this is kind of like the big buy for the sell-off in towards the downside, right? What we can really see, and this is where it kind of gets interesting, right? Because over here we saw close below this low, and that means that this overall buy before the sell-off is kind of like completed, right? So that means now that orders are lying between these two levels. So what I'm now waiting for is pretty much this high to get taken out. And once that high gets taken out, that means for me at least that all the order flow or whatever, all the supply is gone, and we will then really see those higher prices. So we just need this high to go over here. What is it, like 109,341, and then we will see those higher prices in my opinion. For now, just really sitting on my hands in regards to your dollar, so you guys know what I'm waiting for. If the 4-hour sees another, I'm not sure why the Wi-Fi is lagging a bit, apologies for that, and sorry if this is a little bit of a long video, but if the 4-hour sees further downside, because we're currently stuck kind of like in between these two wicks over here on a daily perspective, but we still have kind of like this zone over here, so we could kind of like just of course tap down lower, kind of get that third trend line touch, potentially move back up higher. Looking at it again from a 4-hour perspective, if we do see a close below here, then I will potentially be looking for those shorts, because then for me there is enough confirmation that we will start heading down lower, because we still do have some fresh demand down here, for example in this sell for the big buy. That is where demand is still fresh. Again, also kind of in this doji candle over here, untapped demand we could still head into. So yeah, let's just see if we see one more tap in towards this demand zone, then we could look for those potential shorts, but I need to see a stronger close on something more convincing than what has happened over here, and then we will see this pattern also fill. So that is euro dollar. Pound dollar is a messy boy. Not really seeing that much here. Again, fresh demand here. Again, the daily as well is still pretty much in my favor for those longs. Of course, if you draw the wick to wick bearish candle over here, then we have already tapped into demand. I do preferably always draw it from body to wick, hence why my zone is still fresh. Looking at it from a 4-hour perspective, the 4-hour needs to, needs to still fill this area of demand with this fresh low over here. But again, if you just look at this super choppy ascending price action, which is sometimes a tell sign that there is further downside incoming. So just keep that in mind. But overall, again, not a fan of pound dollar. Kiwi dollar. So Kiwi dollar saw a tap in towards this upper supply zone, move back down again. So what we've now seen is a close above this high, right? Let me just check, or have we not? Oh no, excuse me. So we still haven't seen a close below or above that high, meaning that we are still bearish from a swing structure perspective. We could still see further downside. But as you can see, guys, markets are just not really moving like I preferably want to see them. As we can see over here, we tapped in towards demand, saw that bullish reaction. So there was demand there, but then again, kind of like took out the high and then dumped back down lower. Over here, fresh wick, reacted to some lower time frame area of demand, but still this is now your fresh area of demand. So preferably I would kind of like see it tap in towards this supply and then one more move down, and then potentially on how we react here, we can look for a long again. Because of course, as we know, let's say this is your swing high, this is your swing low. Overall, in the move down, price will never just head straight down. It will move kind of like in a trend, right? So hence why on the 4 hour, I would be happy to look for longs from here. And from a 4 hour perspective, I will be happy to look for shorts from here. So Kiwi dollar is potentially the most interesting one of all. So let's see, this is now your area of supply, liquidation on this high. Again, liquidation on this high. So let's see how price comes in towards this order block. And then we can look for those potential shorts. Dollar CAD, nothing from that. Dollar yen, just missed the zone. Kind of like price inefficiency. It is what it is. Let's see. If we pull back into here, we could look for potential long. Dollar Swiss, looking for further downside. Definitely looking for further downside from a 4 hour perspective. So you can have a look at the lower time frame for some potential shorts. Then gold. So gold, what happened to gold yesterday? Of course, you spiked through this area of supply. How did that happen? Well, it originated from this area of demand over here. So you can see tap in, boom, tap out. Now demand failed, didn't hold because of price coming back in towards pretty much the supply zone over here. This bearish candle or imbalance candle, and then from there we saw price push back down lower in towards this demand zone. So for now, I am still looking for potential further upside on gold. I am looking for price to reach this area of supply over here and take out pretty much all the highs which are still untouched and where liquidity lies above. So looking for those potential longs, but for now it does look like overall order flow is bearish. Preferably, again, you have this big wick, which is super annoying, but if that wick were to get taken out, then I would be looking for those longs. But yeah, still price needs to move quite a bit in order to get there. So let's see how price comes into this buy before the sell-off, because that's where supply lies. As you can clearly see, every single time it happens again, the buy before the sell over here, boom, price drops from there with liquidity lying above these highs. You can see the market kind of tried to take out those highs but failed. Price moves up in towards the supply, boom, sells off. So now what is happening, again, you kind of have this liquidity high over here, and that's why we're reacting in a bearish way, because stop losses are placed above it, right? People trade support and resistance, they go short over here on the bearish confirmation, kind of like this engulfing candle over here, not real engulfing candle, but still. And then what happens, price moves, boom, and then kind of like straight away sees that kind of like fake out, right? People think, now it's going to move up again because support and resistance flipped, and then stop losses. So price is kind of screwing around. Let's just wait to see what happens inside of this area of supply. Preferably, again, I would still just wait for this high to get taken out, then look for those longs in towards this area of supply. From a daily perspective, just remember and keep in mind that this is still my long-term buying zone over here. So yeah, guys, messy markets, summer markets, not that much interesting opportunities in my opinion. Kiwi dollar looks pretty good for buy or sell. Keep that one in your head. For the rest, I'm just sitting on my hands, guys. So that's it. Thanks so much for joining in, and wish you all the best. Thanks, guys.